Welcome back. As we've been discussing, the healthcare industry is undergoing a significant transformation thanks to rapid advances in AI capabilities. But what does this transformation hold for the future of healthcare, and where do we go from here?
I think the most dramatic advancements will occur when all your health information can be pooled in a single place. And the real power is going to come from the combining of information, your genetics, your MRI, blood tests, et cetera. These then can be analyzed by machine learning, artificial intelligence, and predictions can be made. So you can immediately start addressing potential health impairments in the future, if you want. If you don't want, then you can opt out. But I think a lot of people will want to have this knowledge so they can change their lifestyle, et cetera, and maximize their lifespan.
One of the things that I asked Dr. Barzilay in the first segment, Jim, was whether or not she believed AI could eventually reach a point where it proposes cures for things. I mean, could you train an AI model with all the most sophisticated literature around cancer, and that model is able to absorb it all, and I don't pretend to be an expert in this, but absorb all of that information to the point where it can then analyze it and produce a cure? Do you believe that that's within our future?
I do, but the best way to cure cancer is to prevent it. You know, how do we get to stage 0 identification? You know, when I get on a plane, the pilot literally tests every single system. And yet in our healthcare, it's episodic. You know, I go for a once-a-year checkup. Well, imagine every morning my wearables tied to my smartphone measure every single system. At CES this year, there was something that you put in your toilet, and it measures all 20 different metrics on your urine every morning. So imagine doing that test on every single system and catching cancer at stage 0, not 4.
Right, but it's a matter of this technology then becoming ubiquitous, and right now they're limited to the lab within which it's built.
Well, no, there is consumer technology. Your Apple Watch gives you an ECG. So imagine that's tied into an AI that says, hey, that's an irregular rhythm, and based on the huge data sets we have, we predict you're going to have a heart attack in 3 weeks. Right. Let's deal with it now rather than once you have it and are rushed to ER.
Diagnosing and then treating is how you get cure. And you don't always get cure. The diagnosis and the treating, whatever human doctors do now, this can do faster. That's all. It's no different. There's no special miracle that they come up with, but they have, and then again, combined with the ubiquitousness of data collection and data searching in real time immediately, makes them a hyper doctor.
Dr. Arkin, I do want to ask you a question about the future of robots and this generative AI technology. Is it possible in the future that robots could become sentient?
Well, that's always a good question. It depends on how far you look out. There are many people that are worried about that. An engineer at Google said they already have sentience in some of the programs. We even have difficulty, and philosophers do as well too, is defining what consciousness is. Although Daniel Dennett wrote an interesting book called Consciousness Explained, although not everyone agrees with his particular interpretation. Getting back to the healthcare things, one of the things that's problematic still is the bias that is inherent in these large data sets, that it may work well for elderly, white, Caucasian individuals, but it doesn't treat all races and genders and differences fairly and equitably. There's also issues in explainability. It may come up with a diagnosis, but the system has no means, at least the neural networks and GPTs and others as well too, have very, very limited to no explainability as for the decision. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but wouldn't you like to know why, if you got a diagnosis from that, what led to that particular condition? And transparency as well too. These are things that many people in the ethics community and robot ethics community as well too are quite concerned with. So we need to move with caution. And regulation and policy are crucially important for the future of artificial intelligence in medicine and almost any field.
As someone who's working on AI models, I mean, how do you address some of those limitations and biases?
Yeah, so one issue with especially things like ChatGPT is they appear to be plausibly intelligent and so on, but they have actually no creativity. They're completely bound by what's called the probability distribution of language. So they can't get outside that. So the biggest challenge is to move beyond ChatGPT to have general intelligence. And that's the holy grail. And then you have real creativity, and things like sentience and so on could then potentially evolve. And I agree with the panelists that sentience is something we can't even define. So it'd be impossible, even in principle, to say whether an AI is sentient. It could only say, I am sentient, and then it'd be up to us to either believe it or not.
When I think about sentient, I think of a robot not wanting to turn off. But, you know, researchers at Google and Microsoft have said, Diane, that they're starting to see a level of complexity with some of this AI technology, and that they do believe it's within the realm of possibility. I
think that's science fiction, but we'll get there eventually, and it is a concern. But something about the ChatGPT, let's remember too, and I've given it a number of tests myself, and other people have written about it too, and that is that it's a linkages model. It's not artificial intelligence. ChatGPT is a language learning, an LLM, a language model. So it has gazillions of words that it can stitch together, that other people have stitched together in that way, related to whatever question is asked. So it's not intelligent. It's not artificial intelligence. It's a language model driven by rapid data processing. And it makes mistakes. So it's a linkage machine, but it's not a verification machine, and people have to be aware of that.
All right. Stick around. We'll be right back.